Hello, everybody. I'm going to talk about the first week of April and probably one of the most interesting patterns that's forming in April between Mars, Saturn, and Uranus. Now, I'm going to talk about each of them separately, but just as a sort of a summary by thing, in general, it's a favorable or constructive pattern because it's forming around what we call sextiles and trines, and they're considered favorable. Uh, so we have Mars making its third and final trine to Uranus and trine to Saturn and sextile to Uranus as part of this pattern, and which has been these energies have been playing out since October of 2024. So what this might indicate is between the 1st of April and the 7th of April. Now, mind you, this aspect or this pattern is exact on the 5th and the 6th, on the 4th, 5th, and the 6th of April. But basically, it's active from the 1st to the 7th. With that out of the way. So what all this means is that um, patterns, situations, complex things that you've been working through or goals you've been working on since October of 2024, they're at a place of culmination or resolution. So if there's been a problem that you've been working on, maybe, or if there's been an issue that's been working on, if there's a goal that you've been working on, that might be coming to the completion, or you might be finalizing things there. If there's a new strategy, a new rhythm, a new pattern that you've been trying to bring into your life in a particular situation, that can be work, money, personal life, home life, you might find that you're better able to do this now. Usually, whenever I see multi-planet patterns sort of coming together, particularly in a short time span, it feels a bit like, things coming together, being able to put the puzzle pieces together, situations, timing, connections aligning or clicking into place. That's what you can expect around the 4th, 5th, and the 6th of April, but as I said, broadly 1st to the 7th. Now, let's talk about these individually. We have Saturn, Uranus, Saturn sextile Uranus. Um, Now, with Saturn Uranus, there's innovation we've got in the mix, and we're ready to make a change, or we're willing to revamp some of the major systems and structures, patterns, obligations, responsibilities in our life. This is enlivening, this is invigorating, and it might help getting a stuck situation moving, particularly a situation that's been stuck since September, October, and after. So it might help you get a buy-in from significant people or groups of people, and come up with a solution or a plan to be able to move forward. So it feels constructive. Now, it's not a huge major aspect, but the planets involved are major. So the good thing is that I don't see this clashy or conflicting quality here. Instead, we have this willingness to work together towards long-term goals, and we're trying to figure out we've trying to figure out a fresh, out of the box thinking approach of Uranus, and we're looking at long-term goals and stability goals of Saturn, and it's sort of possible now to make things work, to align things in the context of both these planets, if you like. The next planetary pattern is Mars trine Saturn. Now, this is the third in the sequence of three Mars trine Saturn aspects. First was October, second was in late January, early February, so this is the last one. And this is about putting energy or effort into long-term projects or long-term connections. It's about taking action towards a long-term goal, like playing the long game. So there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of intentionality in the choices that we're making and in the actions that we're taking. There is a steady approach here with Mars Saturn. The idea is that we're focusing on the long-term gratification, the ultimate prize. We're focused on that end game. We're looking at consistency, we're looking at discipline. We've got the guardrails on, we're aware of our parameters, our limits, on what we're trying to do. We know that we can't do everything, but we're just doing what's either most important, high priority, or what will be most protective in this situation. Why? Mars is in Cancer. So it's kind of keeping things steady and stable is the main goal here, but consistency and discipline are key. The final aspect we come to is Mars Uranus. Now, this has more of an inventive, electric, rebellious type of quality. Now, it's not aggressive or frictional, or there's no huge rebellion happening here, but there's more like this passion, out of the box thinking. Let's try this innovative solution and go out of the box. So we're going to shake up the status quo. Uh, People are on board to do things differently, and we're all willing to experiment together. That's what Mars sextile Uranus supports. Now, Mars is direct, and it is talking to Saturn and Uranus. So you are this energy is very supportive of being honest, independent. You're willing to fight for your freedom. You're willing to defend your autonomy. You're open to change. Innovation and a fresh approach can help. It's also great for pattern breaking. So, this is a different combination in that sense. We're not doing the usual rhythm or routine. It's more about trying something different, thinking outside the box, breaking new grounds. So this inventive, integrative qualities there. So we've got Saturn and Uranus working together, and we've got Mars in the mix. And this gives this sort of fired up, willing to decide, willing to be bold, willing to try it now quality. So when we're not waiting for the perfect time with this Mars Uranus, Mars Saturn, and Saturn Uranus combination. So particularly with Mars Uranus, remember Mars is in Cancer, it's in its fall. So what we're doing or what we're planning or what we're thinking is not perfect, but we just want to try it. So do it now. See what happens, get the results from the experiment, and then revise your actions, your plans, your goals, your strategies going forward. But don't get too hung up on being perfect, because that won't be possible. This will be like, let's try it again, and it's not as though it's necessarily life-changing shift, radical shifts, but it's going to help us re-energize, reactivate parts of our life that have been a bit stagnant or stuck or frustrating or slow or congested, if you like. So again, Mars Uranus started first time back in mid-October, so there's something that you've been wanting to refresh or experiment with since then. You now are ready to kind of put all that together and really go for it in a new way. So, and the second Mars Uranus, just as a by, happened in, again, late January, early February. So suggesting ideas that are new or different, shaking up patterns, whether that's family patterns, health patterns, money patterns, social patterns, work patterns. We're wanting to experiment with alternative options and alternative connections. I'm, for some reason, very excited by this. I hope you are too. I hope that helps